Of the Pownal Planning Commission to order. My name is Sid Smithers. I'm vice chair. I'm chairing the meeting tonight because Mike Slattery's not here. Good evening, Shannon. I'm going to call for a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Move. Second.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Given that we have some interested citizens here, I'm going to request that someone make a motion to move the public comment period from 7th on the agenda to 2nd. And we'll hear the public comment before we get into the minutes and gist of the rest of the meeting.
So moved. Second.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, if you have written your name on our little pad of paper, please feel free to identify yourself and say what's on your mind.
I'll go first. My name is Donna Lozon. I live in Pownal, and I've always lived in Vermont someplace, and the last 7 years I've lived right on White Birch Lane. And I'm here to just address some concerns. I've been trying to keep up with Cat TV, with the meetings, and my concern tonight is basically about the Empower Pownal process. One of the concerns that I actually wanted to bring up was at the June 20th meeting, which was recorded. It was brought up that this application was done by a private citizen, and I actually have with me a copy of this from the town of Pownal, and I actually have a couple of questions about it. One, I'd like to know who wrote it, and kind of go from there with my next questions.
Why don't you hand it over so we can look at it?
Did you finish signing in? Okay, sorry.
This doesn't appear to be a whole letter. There's no signature
I
line.
have the signatures on the second page.
Then you probably know who wrote it.
I would just like to clarify who wrote it. I can't.
It's signed by it appears, three select board members.
Okay. So you can assume it was written by a select board member?
I would assume so.
Okay. So.
I don't know. I'm not on the select board.
Okay,
This is the
I'm
planning
just
commission.
Of course. So why I'm asking that is because at the last meeting that was recorded on June 20th, it was said that a private citizen applied, but if you actually look at the letter, it says that the planning commission applied. And
No,
would
I think
like to see
it
some
says
clarification.
I think it says the select board.
If you read the first sentence of the letter, it says that the Pownal Planning Commission's application.
It says it supports the Pownal Planning Commission's application.
So was it the Pownal Planning Commission's
The
application
Pownal-
for the Empower Pownal, or was it a private citizen?
Let's say it was the Pownal Planning
So
Commission.
now, okay, so now it wasn't a private citizen. It wasn't Ms. Farsadi.
Let's not have a back and forth.
I'm just asking for clarification on record. Was
Okay.
it a private citizen, or was it the Planning Commission?
I actually don't know.
Well, you're
Jeff,
on
can
the
I have
I'm
that?
on the Planning Commission.
So did you vote on this?
We did not.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
So my question would be...
And your name is?
Michelle Beckman. I live on South Stream. So does that mean that anybody in town can go apply for any program or any grant without any authority? Or if they do apply for it, they could just put a letter in front of the select board and
I think
they
the
sign
select
it?
board endorsed this application. That was the purpose of that letter. I haven't read the letter,
Right, that's fine.
but it appears, the first sentence says the select board endorses or supports the planning commission.
Right, without having read anything about it. They were just given a letter and they were like,
Okay.
they're going, okay, we'll sign it. But if it's from the planning commission, that's one thing, but the last meeting, it was said it was by a private citizen who just happened to be on the planning commission.
Does it make a difference?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And what's the difference?
Well, it seems to me there was a discussion at the last meeting that there was no conversation about it. You had members saying there was no emergency meeting, we were under time constraints, but it would seem at some level, if a private citizen, would I be given the same merit to say yes and do this?
Perhaps if you came in and asked, sure.
Oh, so I would have access to a working town plan?
If you were interested in submitting something for a state program depending upon the merits of it and what people thought about it, why would we discourage you from doing that?
It's not about discouraging somebody from doing it. It's what is being said and what's actually happening. I have a copy of the application that says it was planning commission, but at the last meeting, you actually asked the question, did you do this as the planning committee, or did you do it as a private citizen?
I think that's been explained by Mr. Slattery. I heard him tell somebody, and I don't remember who it was, that a member of the planning commission came to him, said, this is an opportunity that we have, I want to see if we can do it. He said, fine, go ahead. Check with the selectmen. She checked with the selectmen. They got their endorsement, and the application was filed.
He also said that in hindsight.
And he also said, in hindsight, I would do exactly the same thing again.
Right, but he also said in hindsight, at the recorded meeting, that they could have done things differently and that they should have done things differently to give people the opportunity
Okay,
to speak.
let's plow this ground some more. What would you suggest be done differently?
Well, I think that instead of rushing something, this initiative isn't going anywhere. They're going to do 2 towns a year. I've read every document that this has. I think that when you recognize that you only have 2 weeks left to file an application, you don't just go ahead and say, yeah, file the application, I haven't completed the narrative yet, but, we'll sign off on it. You take the time to actually have a thoughtful, considerate, and pragmatic approach to these initiatives that affect everyone in town, not just 1 or 2
Okay.
people.
The due diligence wasn't done.
Okay,
And,
Okay,
and,
what-
and because it is a multi-year thing, why do we have to be the guinea pigs as it's being fast-tracked, especially when a huge portion of the population still doesn't know anything about this? I know they did some outreach, but as we talk to people, they're like, we have no clue.
what's the proposal of this group?
Well, it'd be nice to see a plan. You guys don't have like a map, the plan what they're planning on doing to this town? I mean.
There's no plans to do anything.
No, there
There's
isn't.
not.
No, there isn't. There's no plans for windmills, there's no plans for
No.
anything like that.
No,
It's a
social
community
media- social
discussion.
media is running.
Okay, so where did
running
this
rampant.
empower?
That's not correct.
That's not-
There are
Yeah, exactly.
genuine problems with this process and with this initiative. My name is
And your
Bob
name,
Jarvis.
please?
I've lived in Pownal off and on since the early 60s.
And what's your name, sir?
Jeff Miller.
Excuse me, Mr. You have the floor.
Oh, thank you. So the problem with this initiative is we go in on the 25th, we're dot voting on what this town's priorities will be for the future. Immediately coming out of that meeting, the VCRD is going to match up the committees, we're going to get committee heads, and that they're going to start securing resources to plow ahead with whatever comes out of that. We won't even know what we're voting on until the day we walk in the door. In fact, I think I can explain it. I've got, I read pretty fast. I can get through this
Well,
very
we've
quickly.
heard it before, though.
I'm not sure you've heard this one.
Oh, well, I heard the one that was read to selectmen.
Yep, and this is a different one.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to understand how I generated concerns about this process, I went to vtrural.org and I read documents out there. I read the 2015, 2016, both of them, the climate summit reports. I read the ideas to advance Vermont's climate economy. I read the Progress for Vermont report. And it almost sounds like I'm informing this group, but I'll say it. The Progress for Vermont report is the blueprint, which you've got in your hand right there, for the Climate Economy Model Communities Program, which is now called Empower Pownal. It's not the only thing in there. That's section 6 of the action items out of there. What I learned at last Thursday's meeting is that much of the spearheads, the individuals who spearheaded this, had not read that report and don't know how this program fits into Vermont's overall climate initiative. I find that troubling. It is meant to be transformative.
What is your solution, Mr. Jarvis?
You say it like there's no solution, but all right.
I'm looking to you to hear your
this-
solution.
All right.
You've given it some
solution to this-
thought, obviously.
My solution is to bring this to a town vote, to make sure that all voters of Pownal understand not just what this is intended to do,
We don't have it,
but the
and we don't
risks.
have an open town meeting, sir.
Oh, so it's too late. So we're going to plow ahead
No.
with these things that are intended to change
Pownal
our
doesn't have an
lifestyles.
open town meeting. Our legislative body is the Board of Selectmen. We have an annual town meeting where the moderator reads through the votes that will be cast at an Australian ballot the next day, and people can comment on them, but you don't vote on them there. You go to the firehouse the next day and you cast an Australian ballot. So bringing it to the town is, An opportunity for discussion, yes, but not to take a final and binding vote. That's up to the Board of Selectmen. The Selectmen is the legislative body.
Right, and I've been to the select board, but both boards had a hand in pushing this program forward. And I just want to get on record as saying I think it's an irresponsible process that now puts this town and our lifestyle and our property rights and our liberty at risk without a discussion, without a debate, and without a vote. It's a serious issue. If you read the Progress for Vermont report, it is a statewide smart growth implementation plan. Those 7 action items are intertwined and interrelated. They don't exist in isolation. And we're talking about this like it is in isolation. If you think about what we're going to do on the 25th, we have 2 hours to decide what we're voting on, debate what we're voting on, pull the things that
Did
we're
you
down.
ask the Selectmen to reverse the action and stop this process?
Yes.
And what did they do?
They said the 25th is your opportunity to go in and debate this, which it is not.
Can't say no.
You know,
You
well,
can't say no to anything.
you can't say no to anything. That's how it's set up. I mean, if you go through the process that I went through, and you look at smart growth implementation plans, and you investigate both the pros and cons of smart growth, let me finish. Investigate the pros and cons of smart growth. One thing that you'll find when you investigate the cons are the deceptive tactics used to push through and circumvent a democratic process, to push these things through quickly. I see a lot of similarities in the cons and risks that I've read to this process. This is designed to push this through with as little resistance as possible and as quickly as possible. That's what it's designed to do. So that's what we're here
Well, then
to
I suggest if you didn't ask if the Selectmen were unwilling to pull this from the next meeting that's coming up, I suggest you come and make your points and see what you can do. Is this the paper that you were referring to the other night in the Selectmen's office?
The Folly of Smart Growth, yes. I named the author and that,
Yeah.
but that's not my only concern.
I understand.
If you understand, I went to multiple sources.
I do.
And I've read about smart growth for many decades, in fact. So that's not the only source of concern.
And we're not going to debate smart growth here tonight.
And I don't want to.
Okay.
I would like to debate it before we vote on what we're moving forward with
Then I
in
suggest
this
you come and
town.
debate.
So at the dot vote, I mean, first of all, it's supposed to be people in Pownal, but there's no way to guarantee that it is people from Pownal, because nothing is being checked as far as, voter registration or whatever. So it could be
So you think people from Burlington are going to come down here and
I'm just
vote?
saying, if it's
There
about
are
our
people
town.
from Bennington at the 24th meeting,
There were people from Bennington.
putting their ideas on the
So-
predetermined list.
If it's supposed to be, and it's supposed, that's what's supposed to be.
What's so amusing about that?
Because I think it's kind of silly.
Really?
I don't live here.
There's no voter registration laws.
That is
absolutely
right.
dismissive of genuine concerns and tells me that you have not read any of the documents that are associated with this,
I have.
or you're all on board and you don't care if Pownal
Yeah,
wants
you
it or
seem like
not.
you don't really care.
I have
You got
read
that
it.
smug look on your face, like you don't really care. You're not from Pownal originally, are you?
No,
I didn't think so.
no.
This is exactly what happened. You people come in from out of
You people
state,
come in.
whatever. Don't leave it, okay?
Can I clarify what the dot voting is?
Well,
Because
I
there's
know
a lot of
Well, right, the dot voting is
misunderstanding
where
about
people
it.
put on their dots as to what initiatives they would like to go forward, correct?
It's not what initiative, it's not a specific initiative. It is what volunteer committee should we focus on? And if you want to join that volunteer committee. We live in a country where we are free to assemble.
You're
This
using
is
the
a
coercive force.
volunteer.
We're not
Stop.
This
saying
is
that.
a,
You're
no,
using the
please do not
coercive
interrupt
force
me.
of-
I'm talking, okay? This is a volunteer initiative.
No, it's not.
People are free to assemble. What VCRD is trying to do is get input from communities all around the state on their ideas for this idea of a climate economy.
A volunteer initiative that's going to affect a whole bunch of people
Not just
that didn't
volunteers.
get a voice in it.
That has
That's
a budget
that's
behind it.
so.
It has no.
If you choose initiatives, all we're asking is that the initiatives get voted on as to what people either want to work on grants for, have their tax dollars paid for.
Mr. Jarvis, if
anything
you
like
think this
that.
ought to go to a town vote, and I'm not, and that maybe is a very good idea, I think you've got to suggest it at the night of that meeting and see how it can be arranged. I have no idea how it can be
Special
arranged.
meeting.
All right, as citizens, private citizens, not commission members, would you sign a petition asking the select board? Because there is a petition.
I would not, because I'm not unhappy with this.
No, we're asking for a vote, so you don't think that people
Well,
should be allowed to vote on what's happening in their own town? That's what we're not saying
I'm
no to
happy-
Empower
I'm happy
Pownal, we're
to have
just
people-
asking for a
I'm
vote.
happy to have people vote on it. And it's the selectmen who will,
Right, and
can
this
call that vote.
This is to the select board.
Okay.
That we, the undersigned, request that no action be taken on any individual initiative that comes out of the Climate Economy Model Communities Program's dot voting exercise on July 25th, and no town resources, human or financial, are used until the select board holds a town-wide vote by referendum with a yes/no legal and democratized vote on each
Then
initiative.
I suggest you get your signatures and get that to the selectmen and
But
see what
as,
happens.
but as citizens, you guys wouldn't sign it.
I'm speaking only for myself.
I don't care. That's
They
all.
I
wouldn't
understand.
You don't really
sign
care.
it because they
You,
weren't
not-
even
you
aware
can,
of
you can
the
do, just like the rest of
application.
the ones that
It was
move in
one
here from
person.
out of town, you can try to do your changes, and when you don't get your way, you don't have, you just move back to where you came from. It happens all the time. You'll probably do it, you'll do it.
I'm not going anywhere.
No.
I have 25 fruit trees that I planted.
I'm not going anywhere either.
Well, why'd you put solar panels in there instead of fruit trees?
Can I,
Yes,
can I say
can you
something?
identify yourself,
My name
please?
is Steve McKay. and I live
Steve,
on,
I'm sorry.
Steve McKay.
Yeah,
I live
okay.
on 346 on White Birch Lane. So you asked for a solution. I can see that there's a lot of opinions, right? That everybody seems to have different opinions in the room. All I think as a board that we could ask, not being a part of the board, is for you guys to speak and help us as the citizens, as the board, to just not go forward with any rash decisions, right? The way that I see it is that there was paperwork filed, there was grants that were requested, there were people that came in to, help us form, volunteer groups to help things along. But and right, wrong, or indifferent, if there is things that are going to impact the town for a long period of time, shouldn't you guys be the one, as the planning board, that says, these people are sitting in front of you who live in Pownal, asking you to just not let things slide through? And as the planning board, shouldn't you guys say, okay, I may have a feeling about a volunteer group that I want to do, and you can articulate your position, and you can volunteer, and you can do all that, but we're just asking you to take some time with it, and to let everybody have an equal say in what's going to happen to our town, and where I'm going to raise my children for the rest of their
I support
their
your
lives,
right to have a petition and present it to the selectmen.
Can I ask one question to you? Because this was my intention, was to turn that around a little bit. When I'm reading the town plan and it says that our goals for 2018 and 2020 are to have a recreation committee, an active recreation committee, an active energy committee, and an active economic development committee. But we currently don't have any of those committees. So my intention was, this is a trusted organization around the state that holds these forums, and it gets more people involved and able to join these committees. We can't, our select board they don't have time to do this.
But it just so happens that the people in the committees also could possibly have ulterior motives, right? Their energy might not be the same as me insulating my basement, or as me. They might want to clear cut, how much land in Pownal do we have to look at that has, landscapes of windmills or solar? I mean, they might want to do that, and I think that you guys, with the best intentions, want an economic committee, want a park for our kids to play at. We all want good things in Pownal, but
Those things come with a price.
and other people might not want that for our town, and they
I
don't care. They
understand.
care about the tax cuts.
Yeah.
They care about their investment. They care about the return on investment, the return on what they're going to put in. They're not going to come here so my kid can play in a park, or so that my basement can be insulated better. They're going to come here so they can have tax write-offs and make money. And we're just asking you to look at that aspect of it. That's all.
Well, let me explain one thing. Like, one of the things that I hope will come out of it, I just spoke with the guy that owns the land, between where 346 and 7 meet. And he has lots of ideas for developing those old cabins, developing that land next to the Legion.
That's all well and
Creating-
fine, that's a good, that
Creating
would be
like an
fine.
actual,
That would be
farmer's
fine, but that's not,
market
you
or-
don't dangle
or-
a carrot and then, come in with something else.
Well, it's
And
not
that's
about
what's-
dangling a
That's what's
carrot.
happening.
It's
It
about
is.
hearing from
Let's
them.
empower Pownal. What's that really mean? It doesn't mean empowering the people of Pownal. It means
It does.
empower. Oh no,
It
it means
does.
energy. That's what it means. Exactly what it means.
I think
And
one
there's
of
just a boat
the
snowball on
things,
it.
Jim was part of the group that came up with that name.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry, Jim. I like you a lot.
Doesn't matter.
I
It
believe
was a bad choice of words. Let me
It
just say
was.
one thing. That night at that meeting here, there was a gang of truckers in here that felt they were wrong. And I sat here in Pownal, I've been here 50 years, and I've been to a lot of meetings. I thought that was the most democratic thing that went on I've seen in a long time. They told the board in a polite manner, they were well organized, they got it changed. They got several things changed. Everybody left with a good feeling. You, Mr. Jarvis, did you witness that meeting?
I
You were here.
witnessed that meeting.
Didn't you
But
think that was nice?
Hang on, it's a straw man argument. It has nothing to do with
Oh,
this
I'm
process.
sorry.
But I will say that the select board, I am 100% convinced, are full of people that love this town and want what's best for the town. That doesn't mean that they can decide for the rest of us and against our wishes. That's what we're here about. So it's not about whether or not the people love the town. It's not about whether or not the truckers got a good experience. It's not about the experience 11 years ago with the VCRD. It's about this program, where it fits into Vermont's overall strategy, and the types of initiatives that are going to go forward. This is not Pownal's plan. This is the state of Vermont's plan. They selected an application process as their mechanism to choose which towns to implement this in.
They are
And to
not
go into this-
implementing the plan.
But they're not
To go into
implementing.
this,
They're not
it
implementing
doesn't
it.
matter if they're implementing it. They're putting the parameters on it. And one of your responses to me was, we didn't choose smart growth.
We didn't. That's not even one of the
Stop.
things that we came up with in the meeting.
No.
Let me read this to you.
What do we do in March,
So, wait,
though?
hang on. Local energy generation, that's smart growth. Transportation transitions, that's smart growth. Trails, paths, and alternate transportation, that's smart growth. It doesn't matter which bullet point you pick. It's all smart growth. This entire document is a statewide smart growth implementation plan. That's what it is.
If-
To not
if that's
understand
true,
that, to
what's
not
wrong with
understand
that?
the
What's wrong with
risk. Well, that's the debate we should have as a town. I'm not here to debate the pros and cons of smart growth. I'm here to insist that we do debate the pros and
And
cons of smart
are.
growth.
I said to
We
you
are.
that I
We are
support
tonight.
the
No, we're
right to...
not.
Yes,
We're
we are.
going in on 25th, and we're going forward with whatever the initiatives
I
come
wish
out.
we had
out
smart
of
growth in the
this
50s and
subset.
60s and 70s here when we didn't have zoning. There'd be some problems here that why people don't come here is because of the wrongs that we did in the 60s and 70s without the little smart growth, which has been kicking around the state forever here. Smart growth is
Not
not a new
relevant to
thing.
whether or not Pownal citizens should have a voice.
They do in
this.
March.
Planning Commission...
They do
Planning
tonight.
Commission is not the forum to debate this.
well,
Take your petition to the Board of Selectmen and see what their response is.
respectfully
planning
said,
commission-
the planning commission opened this can of worms, and I think it's up to the planning commission to see everybody's side of it.
Okay, we're perfectly happy to listen.
petition.
An email went out to everyone, and before some people even saw it, it was reacted on, and it was acted on. And as you know, I brought this up at the June 20th meeting, not everybody agreed, and that's fine, but I think that because it started here at the Planning Commission, then the Planning Commission needs to see and support all sides of it, not just one side of it.
I'm-
That's just
I have
me
all night, and I'm
as-
willing to listen all night. Planning Commission isn't the group that's going to vote on this.
Well,
Isn't
and
it a planning initiative though? I mean, isn't that
Petition
what the
will do
planning
it.
is
Get a
for?
petition up.
We
Sign.
have the petition.
Then good. Then you take it to the selectmen
And we will, but
and you'll get a voice.
My issue is that if we have, so this is just, if the planning commission isn't going to take responsibility for the fact that the document says that the planning commission supports this, we have to take a petition with 5 times as many people that are on the planning commission to the selectmen because there was a document that was generated to get a budget from the state by a small amount of people that aren't responsible for it, then who is really responsible for it? Because the selectmen will look back at the letter and say, it's a planning commission, or it's a planning group's initiative, right? So if it's the planning group, then let's help us. If you're the ones that did this, then help us sign the petition. And then we can say, look, the planning commission who put this initiative through also believes that we just need a little bit of time to talk about it instead of going
That's
out.
what the
and-
meetings
Okay,
are
that's
for.
what we're doing.
But
A meeting's
the-
about
Okay.
that is
Mr.
The
Chairman.
meeting is for
Yep.
a dot vote, it's not a democratic vote.
It's 2 hours.
There
There's
has
no
to
time
be
to
some
debate.
sort of vote that people have the opportunity to.
Well,
Okay, how many in the
I-
room, how many in the room were at the meeting
Yes,
11
I'm
years
gonna
ago?
there.
I
At
wasn't
11
at
years
the meeting
ago,
11 years ago, but I'm going to tell you something.
What
right
happened,
now,
though?
Because I haven't had a chance to say my next piece,
Okay.
is that I went to the June 25th meeting. And when a person asked, you know, what if we don't want something? The response was, don't tell us what you don't want. How can you say no to things in a democratic way, yes or no, when you're silenced from voicing your opinion? Here's my second point. I was at that meeting, the steering committee meeting, and John Copans had a pre-written list that he grabbed from behind the wall. Everybody that was there saw it and said, I took the liberty of coming up with these ideas. That is not community-led. That is somebody who came with an agenda, with written ideas, and then said, this is what the community wants. And you can't say no because we don't want to hear what you don't want. Nobody is saying that Pownal shouldn't grow. Nobody is saying that here. What we're saying is there didn't have to be a rush. The 2-week arbitrary timeline, this initiative isn't going anywhere. Why not say, we hear your concerns. We're going to ask the VCRD to come back. And after we've had a chance to talk, 100 people at Empower Pownal is 3% of Pownal's population. There was a lack of transportation. There was nobody there doing sign language. You have people that live in the parks that they can't hear. There was no child care. You can't say that was a clear representation of everyone in Pownal and cheer it on and have all of these people sitting here saying, hear us. What about us?
To then
Go
vote
to the
on
meeting.
dots that are already predetermined. Why not that? Because those meetings were predetermined because the agenda was already written. Nobody talked. Oh, I'd like to go 4-wheeling. Nobody talked. Every time I talked about a 4-wheeler trail, they said, well, you know, the bikes are really what we need, and we're really looking towards not having to get. No, I think there are more people around that might like a 4-wheeling trail or two, but that's not going to be a dot.
And
Because
you
the dots are already on there, and all we want is to be able to have some time to talk about the dots together and to establish where the dots or what the dots should be. That's all. We're not coming in here as like a.
And you should get the same merit and consideration as the private person who filled out the application.
And maybe we'll have
I
the
mean,
planning
and at the
commission
steering
sign
committee,
up
you know,
for.
because they are talking about energy, I believe in, you know, renewable energy and things like that. And I said, well, what about, you know, no cost or low cost loans to individual families to put solar at their own houses so that, you know, when the power goes down, I have a house generator, so I'm fine, but not everybody has that. So when the power goes down, you know, they have solar panels on their own property. No, that's not for the greater good.
No, that's
Well,
right, because
I think it would if it's the greater good is taking care of people in our own town. So when we did bring up initiatives, we were told no, yet we can't say no.
Michelle, you weren't at the meeting on the
No, the
24th.
steering committee meeting.
Okay,
That's
well,
where I
I know
brought it up.
people talked about the low interest loans for solar panels at
Right.
that meeting,
I
and
brought-
they
and I brought
were,
up-
and there was a whole discussion about it.
Right,
So,
and I brought it up
since
with
you
John,
weren't
and
at the
he said
meeting,
no.
I think you can't speak to that particular discussion.
Well, I want to also bring this.
really.
You weren't there.
We shouldn't talk, so we were from
I'm
Pownal,
saying
we
you.
shouldn't
I'm
talk.
saying you shouldn't say
Yeah,
that
listen,
that
listen
was
to
not
you.
allowed.
Yeah,
I specifically
you.
just said that I was at the steering committee meeting and I was told by John Copans, while we're sitting here trying to help and come up with ideas. No, I wasn't at the meeting, I was out of the country working. My fault. So
I'm
so that
saying you
actually-
weren't
I didn't
there.
actually-
Which
so
meeting were you
that's the
talking
thing
about
is,
anyways? The one
I
down at
don't
the
have a
Legion?
voice in
What
the
meeting was,
process because I
was that
couldn't be
really a
there.
meeting?
process.
I don't
Yes, it
remember
was
that
a
really
meeting.
being a meeting, really?
It was a
It
meeting.
was
What we
so,
as a
you
board will
couldn't,
do.
you could not even hear anybody either side of it, because you guys just had it boggled up. You had
Yeah.
two things going on at once.
Well, and you
How's
guys,
that work?
you guys say nothing's
That's
going to
not
come
what
out
it
of
was
this,
supposed
but in talking to Doug, who has this property, he's excited by going to that
That's
meeting
one
because he's
thing.
taking his vision bigger,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's like
I heard him
maybe
talk
we can
about it.
help
I
him
heard him.
get some grants.
So that's
to
the meeting you're
actually
talking about,
grow
yes,
his
I did
business.
hear it.
I'd
Some
say
of us
then
believe that's a
something is
market
gonna.
question.
But that doesn't mean that
Guys.
that's not the answer to everything.
Even
I
so,
don't
though,
know.
to help with the grant, even if you're doing the Empower Pownal, they still can't do grants because we don't have our village, we don't have our town plan done. We don't have village done. So
No, he
until
still
we
can. He couldn't
Well,
get
no.
the tax credit that's
Right.
there from the
And
village
why, and that's the whole
designation.
purpose is so that once you have the town plan, we get village, then we can do the grants
Well, and I
and
think
stuff.
people need to
But-
understand that the way that the grant process works is anyone who's looking for a grant, if any town resources are used, has to come to the select board. And it has to be approved by the people we voted into the select board. There's not a backdoor way to do it.
I guess the other part that I'm still baffled by is, what is it that everybody thinks that Pownal needs? What do you think us hillbillies need? What do we need? What do we need?
We're not all
I
hillbillies.
mean, well, we must be, because,
we're not.
I don't think
you
that
can just come in and railroad us and
I mean-
just travel on, I've
No,
been through
I
all
think
my
when you
life,
go
too.
up and down, wouldn't you like to see maybe
No.
some of these empty buildings with the
Would you like to
business
see
that we
solar
could
panels
support?
covered so
Of
you can't
course,
see
but
them?
there's
Wouldn't
no-
that be nice, too?
I don't want to see solar
Oh,
panels
Jesus.
covering the town.
Right across from Jimmy
Why-
Winchester's store, look right over towards that mountain, you'll see solar panels right.
If we're talking about businesses in
problem.
Pownal, why wasn't the Small
Perfect.
Business Administration at the
Planning
meetings?
Commission is in the final throes of preparing a town plan, which we're gonna submit to the select board. We're gonna have public hearings on, and I invite you to come to the public hearings and comment on the town plan, and let us have your thoughts, so that the town plan reflects accurately what your hopes and aspirations for the town
Are there
is.
going to be copies of that town plan available before
There-
the meetings?
Yes, there will. I have,
Everybody?
I
Anybody
put
who
out
wants
the
to
final
be able to
draft
go on
today, which hasn't
read it
been
for
reviewed by
days?
everybody. It'll be another couple of weeks, but there'll be notices, everybody will be given an opportunity to come and speak their mind, read the town plan, make their comments, object to it, say it's a great thing, whatever they want to do. The Planning Commission Mike Slattery, the chairman of the Planning Commission, did say to Shannon, fill out the application, and that was done. She then went to the selectmen and they endorsed it. The Planning Commission is not going to take a vote tonight. I'm chairing the meeting. The Planning Commission is not going to take a vote tonight to undo what it has done.
No one asked for it.
And if you want to proceed with a petition, I happen to think that's the proper mechanism to bring this to the Board of Selectmen. And I urge you to do that. We have some more items on our agenda that I want to get to. Anybody else have any final comments they want to make?
Say one thing. If you want the initiative to go to a vote, please go to Village Market. There's a petition up there. You can sign it. It'll be there till the end of this week, but if you want your voice heard, please go sign the petition.
Is that discriminatory?
I was gonna say, how
Why
can
don't,
it-
why don't I have one?
Register-
Well, we wanted to
Why
bring
don't I have
it-
one?
We do,
I
bring
have
it to
more
you,
petitions in
Jim.
my store
Wait, I
for the
know,
last,
I know,
I've been here 38 years.
I told my brother
And you know
to
something?
approach you about it.
I'm left out of it.
No.
Well,
Thank
wait
you
a minute,
very
wait a
much.
minute. If you
I was
would
gonna
like
ask
a
you if you'd
petition
welcome
to
it.
get to bring
No,
your
that's
store, we'll give
okay.
you one.
That's
We will
all,
give you
but I
one.
have to ask for one.
Anyone wants a
You missed the
petition,
point.
bring to
That's not
that
it,
store, we will give you
The
a
same people that
petition,
want to
and
think
you
people are
can help us collect.
discriminatory, you put them in one store. Is that democratic?
I told my brother to come and ask you about
It's
it.
a
Well, yeah, but you're a
I
nice
was gonna
guy.
ask
I know you.
tonight, Jim,
You've
so.
been here a long time,
I'm
okay?
offering you a petition right now.
Don't
It's not
offer me anything, will you
discriminatory
please? Do me a
about
favor,
that.
don't
I'm
offer me
saying where
anything.
I know the petition is. That's where I know it is because I was up in the store.
That's fine.
why I'm saying, I haven't been in your store, since I got home. But I was in Village
Well,
Market because I went to do my
there's
bottles.
Stewart's, there's also the liquor store. Come on, there's Dollar General. One store, only one store, you're gonna go with it? Sounds a little bit,
So can we drop one off at your place?
of course you could, always.
So we'll have them at
Jim, do you feel
Winchester's,
hurt?
Village
Do you
Market,
really feel
we'll
hurt, Jim?
take it to Stewart's and the liquor store.
Could you
I'm being
read your
facetious,
petition?
okay?
People who
I'm being
sign petitions
facetious.
spend
I
money.
read
read
it
it?
here. Yeah.
In fact,
No,
if
but
you own
can
a
you read
business
the
and would like
letter
to
that
have
goes
the
with the
petition in
petition?
your store, call me, and I'll make sure that you get a petition. Or talk to the Village Market, they'll make a copy of it for you.
Right.
We just need to collect them by the end of this week.
And I would just like to thank you for clarifying that the Planning Commission, so what you're saying is that all of the members of the Planning Commission
Can-
applied for this.
No.
And you're
No,
saying-
that's not true.
That's absolutely
So it's not-
I've told you, I've given you the facts as I know
So it
them.
was, can you just say, for the record, private citizen or Planning Commission? It's one or the other.
Private citizen, member of the Planning Commission, came to the Planning Commission chair and said, I think we ought to do this. The Planning Commission chair said, yes, we should. Go ahead. Check with the selectmen. That's the
There was
process.
not a vote. We did not vote on
You
this.
did not vote on it.
But that should be the proper procedure, correct?
But it's not even
No.
ours to vote on.
May
Not
I just
necessarily.
So it doesn't even
clarify
matter.
this?
It's not our
Because-
decision to
because-
vote on.
because
We
it
can't
wasn't a
pass
planning commission
or
action, it was-
reject this. It's not our
Well,
baby to even do it. That's why it
But
never
if-
came
if-
up.
It's a misrepresentation, though, to say you do something as a private citizen and then a document says you do it as a committee.
It says that you
It's a
are, though.
misrepresentation.
If it
You
said
should
that was
clarify
All I can
private
tell you is we
citizen
didn't
on
we didn't vote on it.
And that's why, that's our.
Can I ask a
that it
question?
shouldn't be
Sure,
that
I
way.
hear what
Why
you're
are
saying.
you
Julie.
guys only doing your petition for the week? Why are you not giving it more time for people to sign the
Because
petition.
it's before, prior to the dot vote, to make sure it's
Okay.
turned in before then.
But who are you, wait, but who are you gonna turn the petition?
To the select board,
No,
or to you?
they're not
No,
meeting.
the selectmen are not meeting again until August 3rd.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have to bring it to the attorney
After
general.
Well, that vote doesn't really.
So, but that,
it's
but are you gonna
not
bring your,
saying
pet-
You're gonna do anything.
It's all
Where- where-
non-binding, isn't
When
it?
do we have to have the petition finished and in whose hands?
well, that's why,
So this dot vote, this is something I just found out yesterday, or this morning, I saw it on Facebook about this meeting at the Legion, I just saw it this morning, so all of a sudden somebody's just railroading us and just pushing us through and we're gonna vote on something that night?
Yes.
It's
Why didn't
a
people find out
prioritizing
about
of
it?
which volunteer committees you might want to join. That's
Come to
what
the
it
meeting,
is.
come to the meeting.
No, I'm coming.
That's what it is. And I just have to say that the letter
I'm gonna have to
that
start
goes,
coming to a lot of meetings, I guess.
Are going to be
You know?
there behind.
there are no experts. It's all
Yes.
Pownal people.
It
You
says
said
that
they were
they're
trusted
No,
experts.
people.
the second meeting is
What's
only
that say?
Pownal.
what's that poster say?
There's no visiting team.
Okay,
It's just Pownal people with the two guys from the VCRD, that's
Did
it.
you verify that all the people that were participating were Pownal citizens?
We did not verify that when
Did
people
not,
came
that's
through the
right.
door.
That's right.
No, we didn't. But I have to say, you know, this program, when we decided at the meeting where Jim was, that we decided on the themes of the workshops that we would do would be home energy efficiency, small business development, recreation, local agriculture, residential renewables. Okay? So,
Transportation.
and transportation. Smart growth was not one of them.
That's not correct. Hang on, I've already clarified.
Can I please finish?
That is smart growth. You're trying to send the message that smart growth is
Smart-
not part of this, and it is.
But smart growth was a separate category that we did not
It was a
vote
separate
on.
category
I
that
mean, we
wasn't
didn't
selected, so
decide
it
on
was
that.
redundant.
And then the other thing that we did not, we said we don't want a workshop on, is we don't want large-scale solar or wind. The letter that you have with that petition is fear-mongering because the last paragraph says, you know, the first step is for them, this is the first step for wind to come to the town. Well, of course people are gonna sign it because they're afraid.
I'm not
Shannon, how does this fit into the overall progress for Vermont report?
We're not talking about large-scale wind or solar, we're talking about
Wait,
residential.
Shannon, let me stop.
Coming around
I'm
again.
gonna stop, I'm gonna stop the
It's
debating.
125
We're-
feet.
I'm gonna stop the debating. Get your petition, get it to the selectmen. I wanna get on with the rest of the planning
Can
commission
I just ask
meeting.
one last question?
You may if you identify yourself.
Melissa Collins, did anybody here read Progress for Vermont? Anyone? I'm just curious, did anyone read Progress for Vermont?
Whatever, where's my copy? I just
I
had
would
it.
thought it was from the month.
You did? Since when?
I didn't.
When I spoke to you after the
You must
meeting,
have
you
it.
promised
I've
me
read
you
it,
would
yes.
read it.
You
On
have read it.
Thursday, when
I
we
have
spoke
read
after
it.
the meeting, no, you told me I will read it. I
Well, I
suggested
looked
that
at
you
it
read this.
again. I had read it when it-
And your
before I
comment was,
applied.
I will read it. You didn't
I-
say I haven't, I've already read
This
it.
doesn't say anything about that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for taking ownership by being on this
That's one of the
Pownal
problems.
Planning
It doesn't
Commission's
say, and you're gonna get
application. Just for the record.
It just says review action items. It doesn't say there's a vote in there.
I do a lot of snowmobiling and up in Tug Hill, New York. Okay, they got their ATV trails, their hiking trails. Oh, and they got, oh, do they have
And
windmills?
Jeff, I think the fact that somebody is relatively new to Pownal doesn't mean they aren't interested in Pownal.
I don't know.
I spent a lot of time on the planning board and the
just not sure what
PRB
part
because
you're really
I'm
interested in.
You don't have to
interested
pick up
in
your
the town.
chairs, it's
Okay,
okay.
but I just don't understand, I guess, the other part. There's always something coming up. It's always, Pownal needs this, Pownal. I've grown up here all my
Do you
life.
think, do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a good idea that we have that hospital satellite there?
Sure.
I'm from out of town. I did that.
Yeah, I like that. I don't care. That's good.
Okay, and I don't need I don't need a gold medal for that. I don't need anything. But to make a broad
That's-
statement that people from out of town don't give a damn
That kind
about
of
this
stuff
place
is fine.
is really wrong.
That's fine. But if your motive is for something different down the road, as far as
Something different. I want people to be healthy.
you want this little town to be like, I don't know what you want, but
No, you don't. And that's why it's good to have a dialogue, because you don't know.
really, I don't. I don't know anything
How
about
could you
people
know?
in this town.
I don't know what you know.
I know a lot.
There's no dialogue.
Probably a whole lot more people in this town than you know.
You probably do.
I do. And so I kind of know what they want, what they don't want, and what they don't want. What they do not want is solar, and the solar fields, and they don't want wind
Our
turbines.
town plan suggests that the zoning prohibit windmills on the hills.
Okay, that's perfect.
And
And that's
restrict,
perfect.
and restrict solar
But what
to
about the
former
solar?
gravel pits.
That's right, to a former gravel, but not on Route 7,
No.
not up into Peckham's
Read,
Fields or.
read the town
anything
plan,
else.
read the town plan,
That's-
and
Wait,
come
I
to
don't
the
have a
meetings.
problem if that's what they're gonna do and do it responsibly.
Sorry.
But what they've done in Bennington so far is a perfect, you know,
We've been
they
work-
want that to be,
We've
you
been
know,
working on this plan for over 3 years.
listen,
And we're really diligent,
What
and you'll
they've
get a
done-
chance to read it, and it's not the law, it's only ideas.
What
We
they've
don't
done-
have, we don't have the ability to make
in
law.
Bennington with solar panels has been very irresponsible, and we're right
Okay.
next door to them, and they're already starting around here. Not saying that they're next to the roads yet, but if you let it keep going, they will be. And that's where you guys, the planning board, need to step in and say, look,
I will tell
it's
you
not
that
happening.
one of the reasons why we have to do the town plan and make the recommendations that we have to do is because we can't put forth a zoning bylaw that incorporates those ideas without the backup of a town plan. The Board of Selectmen then have to approve a change in the zoning to take the recommendation
Mm-hmm.
to prohibit wind on the ridges and restrict
That's
solar
what I
to.
wanna hear. I wanna hear you say you guys wanna restrict it, because, or help
But
restrict it.
it's only a recommendation at the moment.
Nor are we gonna get into
Because
the same predicament we got into with the prior town plan that allowed large-scale biomass. That's not gonna happen in this
No,
town,
we don't.
where 150
Thank-
trucks will be coming in,
Thank God.
back and forth.
Thank God.
I worked
Because they
really
would've
hard on
ruined
that.
this. They would've ruined this.
You bet they would've.
You, nobody did any real studies on that. you
This
know.
guy was in front of the whole thing right
I
there.
did a lot of
stopping.
real hard work and hard dollars to make that go away.
Go away. I
Grassroots.
appreciate that.
I got the lawyer, I vetted, I went up
I
to
appreciate
Montpelier.
that.
I don't need any, thanks for that, but it's a matter of record.
No, I appreciate
That's not gonna happen in
I
this
personally
town.
don't wanna read any marketing from anybody in this town, on any committees or any boards. They're saying that they're gonna transform this town. Because
Town
this
doesn't need
this
to
town was
transform.
transformed 40, 50 years ago by the racetrack.
Racetrack.
And then it untransformed
Right.
when the
Yeah.
racetrack
I-
left.
And then you have to-
So we don't need to
So
be
then-
transformed. Most people are pretty content
Just what it is.
working in Bennington
We still on
or Williamstown,
Oh, yeah.
working somewhere and coming home.
Okay, I want to get to the
Sleep.
rest of the planning board
We don't
agenda,
need to
if I may.
transform
Thanks,
this
Thanks for your
thanks for
input.
coming in.
That, I never wrote that. I never wrote that anything would be transformed. I'll
Hey
tell you
buddy, how you
that.
doing? Good to see you, honey. How's Frankie doing?
Hi, thank
Take
you.
care, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, next on the agenda, if I may.
Please. Okay.
Did you take my little agenda?
I didn't know.
You want an agenda?
I had
Yeah,
my
well,
You want
agenda
mine? I'm gonna
that I,
get back on track, yeah.
We've had our public comment, and it's all been recorded faithfully. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of June 20, 2017. Have you had a chance to look at them?
I did not email them because I did not honestly have time. I didn't.
You didn't dishonestly.
I don't know how you,
I honestly didn't with training and I didn't, so I'm sorry.
Okay, everybody take a look at those minutes, please.
Yep.
And then we will. Julie, you use in the discussion about Kuzmicki, you say use the old Cherry Court. What,
what's a trailer park?
It was a, I thought it was a,
No.
no, it was a,
Well, when
Yeah.
the
It
racetrack,
was,
there was
you'll
trailers in there.
use the former, or no, it's
I
open.
mean, what, is it an
Without
area
cockroaches.
of ground or a building or what?
I think it
thought
was just what
the
it was
building,
called, wasn't it?
No, it was a
Wasn't
little
that
trailer
big?
park.
Yeah, that big building and then the little cabin. It was all called the Cherry Court.
Two or three trailers.
Okay, but it's sufficiently well defined on the place, on the face of the earth so that people know where that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, use the old.
People like,
Okay, should be the
Mr. Miller
former
would know
Cherry
what's up.
Court for retail store. Use the old Cherry Court building.
No,
I
I
might-
just,
well, I'm
didn't-
just-
I wasn't familiar with the terminology.
Well,
Yeah.
If everybody understands it, it's fine with me.
No, not everybody understands it, but now I do.
well, that's on, to us, that've been here
Cherry
100
Court,
years.
I went in there and checked it out. And there was a service station right there on the road on 346, the longer
The
white
bigger-
building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's an old ice cream
I
stand
thought that was
in
an
it.
ice cream stand.
it was.
It was,
It was.
and it's still there, and it's all marble.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But in the trail, in the era of
really
the
cool.
racetrack, they parked some trailers in there and back, and it was
Okay.
called
Right.
Cherry Court.
And now there's no mobile homes
There
there.
was one that just got torn down.
Yep.
One left.
Okay, is anybody prepared to make a motion to approve the minutes of June 20?
I move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excuse me.
All right, I'll have Mike
Approval of the
sign.
special meeting minutes of July 5, 2017.
Okay.
He's 18.
18. Oh, will you put this back after for me so we don't lose it? Thank you.
Is there any,
I move.
is there a motion to approve the minutes of July 5?
Yes.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Next. Sir, do you want to be recognized? You're still here, and we do have a space on our agenda for a guest to address us.
I was just curious on what happened at the planning board. That's all.
So you're
Oh,
just
sure.
standing around to see what we do.
I'm just here. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
have anything
You're always welcome.
specific.
And
Thank you.
is there any mail, Julie?
Yes.
You might fall asleep.
I hadn't even opened it yet. That was slacking.
One of them is a notice from the Town of Williamstown Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yep. This one is a wastewater system and potable water supply permit for John and Georgiana Holivat on Bee Hill Road. Williamstown Zoning Board of Appeals, public hearing Thursday, July 20th for a petition of the president and trustees of Williams College for a special permit for the construction of a hotel exceeding 5,000 square feet of a building area in the Village Business District and associated site improvement, changing the grade of 6 feet and increase the parking spaces above parking minimums. And that will be right on Spring Street and Latham
It's
Street.
right down at the foot of the hill, yeah.
Yes,
Legion.
where the Legion was, right?
John's got water problems, so.
Any other mail?
No.
Other business, ZA monthly log.
I have a question. Are we or are we not changing this? I'm still confused. Because I thought we were doing it every 3 months and he was gonna come in.
That was my memory.
Okay,
That's what I remember too.
all right. Well, we haven't seen him yet. So I
How
will
do you
read.
know?
Well, I
He
haven't
often
seen him
comes
in a
here
while.
when you're not here.
Obviously. But I will read the report, but, okay, so for May and June, he received 11 applications. He accepted 11. Number of permits granted, 3 were verifications, 4 were permits. Numbers forwarded to the DRB was 4, was in a lot line adjustment, an art studio, changes in a church, and a subdivision. Okay? The status. The art studio, lot line adjustments, changes of use, and the DRB has all of them.
Could you repeat the address? Is there an address associated with this?
The lot line adjustment was
I was on 346.
346,
It's right next to
the church,
just down from the church.
the Brown Church, which is the Congregational Church. And then the art studio was the Sudlocks up on,
Pottery Studio.
yep. And then a change of use for the church was the North Pownal
former
Catholic
Catholic
church.
church. That's being used now by the craftsman.
Right, I remember that.
And he wanted to
Yep.
put an apartment, he wants to put an apartment in there. And then the subdivision was over there by the school for Mr. Fry.
But that wasn't acted upon.
So then his other things, no, he had done was checked on a couple of sites for cleanup and calls with questions on zoning, what is allowed in various zones, etc.
I don't think we have to have any action to accept that
No.
log. Next item on the agenda is discussion of the draft town plan. I got it out to you so late. This is, by the way, I think, we're gonna change the face page. It's not gonna say draft anymore. It's gonna say proposed town plan or something like that, and it'll have a new date on it. When I sent it to each of you, I posed a question. I left in this draft, section 2, our draft of a section called Our Vision for Pownal. And I also left in it section 2 as drafted by Mike Batcher. It's right, it's pages
Sorry.
right underneath my clip, pages 2 and 3. And the question is, which section 2 do we want? And since people got it late today and haven't had time to read it, I'm going to defer the question till our next meeting. But I hope everybody will not only read section 2 in both versions and make a choice as to which you like, but read the entire plan for one last time. I have done it. I think I've made the edits and the changes that people have requested. My assistant is unable to convert the Excel spreadsheet that Mike Slattery used for implementation to a Word document. But I found somebody who thinks he can do it, so I'm gonna try to get it done so it can be included in the town plan, which is the intention. Right now, it is attached as an exhibit. So too are the maps, which are very hard to insert. The electronic copies of maps are very hard to insert in the text of the draft plan, so I have them attached at the end as an appendix. I'm mystified by the technology required to get them merged.
Does Mike Batcher have any idea, since this is something he does?
Well, Batcher can fix this for me, the implementation.
Well,
fact-
the map,
in
well, what we've done before with maps, if their maps are going at the end of the plan, when we go to print, I take my colored copy of my maps, and then we'll have the whole document, and then they'll add the maps for me at the end.
Are
They do it.
Are they gonna be in the text, or are they gonna be at the end of the text?
I don't know where we put them. I've asked that question. I thought they said that our maps were going at the end of the book.
We've said that because we don't know how to incorporate them.
Right.
So,
That was my thought, that we were leaving the other maps and graphs and tables where they were.
yeah.
We were putting all the maps at the end, so when I take our document to print, I bring that whole document and I email that and I attach the maps and I scan
Okay.
it and at the
I
end.
know Mike wanted to vote on this, and I'm sorry I didn't
On the
get-
vision?
Well, Mike wanted to vote on the entire plan.
I thought we were
And
supposed
I
to do
thought we
that
were-
till the August
And,
meeting.
well, and I said we ought
When he
to,
came
I thought
back.
too.
That's what I put in minutes.
Yeah.
we ought to put that off.
Yeah.
But I'd like to vote, and I know Mike would like to vote at the next meeting. So I encourage everybody to make a final review of this.
Did you put the acknowledgements in there?
I did.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I hadn't seen it yet. I hadn't gotten my copy yet, so I'm apparently still waiting.
Did you talk to Mike about the idea of just choosing one of those vision statements?
Mike got the email.
Okay,
In
I was just
fact,
wondering.
I have not talked to him.
Okay,
I noticed it today.
yeah.
I have a question.
Final go-through.
And if we see it as a hybrid between the two, is that a bad thing?
No, I think if we can combine them effectively, that's fine.
Eliminate, but the best of this to the best of that?
Yeah.
Or even just bring one paragraph over or something.
That's what
like
I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I think it could use some of that.
okay, so let's do that. But when's our next meeting?
August 1st is our
Okay.
work session.
Okay, so we want to vote August 1st.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
You may.
Can we have a picture for the front cover? Seems how,
Let me get my
We were
phone
doing
out and I'll take a
United
picture of you.
Nations picture.
I don't, we hadn't
That would
come,
be so cool.
we hadn't ever done one, but I know we've
We've got
had
one.
the watercolor one
At the
for
library?
From the
100
50s,
years.
Yes, it was on the
Yeah.
cover of the
Wouldn't
United
that be
Nations
the-
magazine.
They took a picture of the
Bartels
valley
Lodge.
of Bartels Lodge?
Yes, it was a shot from across the way.
Right.
and
Oh,
it
from
was-
Bar, well, that's a
This
good
was
thing
the one
because
that
it
was going
doesn't
to be in
exist
the
anymore.
United Nations
Yes,
cover?
yes. It is at the library, that picture
So
is.
United Nation.
We ought to use.
From the 50s,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, so if I go into the library and say, can we have or email the United Nation?
Pic-
I've talked
picture
to
of
Linda
Pownal
about
from
it.
the 50s.
You'll recognize it. It
Like
has a
Welcome
big
to
bird
America
ship.
or
It was a
something.
cover
It was
on
something
United
United
Nations
Nations
amazing.
magazine,
program.
yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's the cover.
A lot
of
of
the
artists used to go
magazine.
there, I understand. They'd come up and paint the balance.
So we can use that for our front cover.
And of course, we're going to want a footnote to the effect, which makes it all the more important, not just the picture.
No.
Where
Well,
it came
yeah,
from, the
no,
year is
well,
important.
I know, well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'm asking for,
Yeah.
okay, email
So we have
Linda.
voted, you want to vote to see if we're going to have a picture on? I'll accept a motion to include a
Even if
picture
we
on the
don't have a
cover.
vote on it, I would get a picture.
You gotta.
Because
I think we better
I
have a vote
prefer a
on
vote,
it.
yes.
Okay, is there a motion?
Yes.
Second.
And a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Unanimous.
When you
Thank
see
you.
the picture, you'll like it.
Okay. Only because
I've
Don't
never seen
fail
the
me
picture,
now.
I've just heard about it.
I've got one in the magazine.
You do?
Okay,
Nation magazine.
August
Okay.
1st, be prepared to vote on the town plan. Please,
I have all my envelopes and
I'm not gonna be
everything.
here.
you're not
There was
But-
one.
vacation?
Yeah.
Good.
So I do have all ready to go. All my envelopes are addressed and all that stuff, so. And I have my checklist and everything, so as soon as I know,
Okay,
We
is there a
can go.
motion to adjourn?
Yes. Make a motion.
And a second?
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Vote with your feet.